Okay. All right. I think we can get started. Still have a few more people coming on in, but no problem. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today. My name is Rachel McIntosh, and I am a podcast host and journalist at Finance Magnates, and I'm going to be moderating this discussion today. Our webinar is entitled Liquidity Bridging, but Not As You Know It. So I am so pleased to have here with me today one of the Forex industry's top liquidity experts, Albina Zdanova, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Tools for Brokers. And I'm going to let Albina introduce herself a little bit more thoroughly in just a moment. But before we get to that, I want to go through a few housekeeping matters. So our discussion today is going to last for about 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, we're going to open up the floor for questions. So we'd love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have a question at any time, go ahead and submit it through the Q&A section on your Zoom console, and we'll do our best to answer your question within the 15 minutes at the end of this webinar. If we don't get to your question today, still go ahead and submit it. We will do our best to follow up with you afterward. Also, just for your information, this webinar will be available on demand after today's session is over. So if you miss anything, don't worry at all. We'll be sending around the recording, and you can find today's discussion along with more information about more upcoming panels and that sort of thing. Last but not least, sharing is caring. We would absolutely love to see that you have shared today's webinar through your social media channels. Let people know that you were here. And without any further ado, let's get this conversation rolling. So Albina, welcome. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for the introduction and for the organizing all that event. I had a chance and moment to look through the attendees list, and I'm very happy to welcome you all on this webinar. I've seen my colleagues, I've seen my friends within the industry who are most likely here to support me. I appreciate your support. I also see some competitors in the list, and I'm very glad to see you on this webinar as well. And of course, I see that most of you are the brokerage companies, the liquidity providers who just wants to know what is it happening in the industry, what is it new, what is it that you don't know probably. And I compliment that approach very much, that you want to learn new things, that you want to educate yourself. You have this desire to not to miss out on the new developments and started to look around on what is happening in the industry, what is this new things that we can do better with ourselves, with our companies. And you probably wonder, what is it we're going to talk about today? I want to shed the light a little bit about what is it going on in the industry, because you've probably seen in the news that there are many more companies, technology companies are out there in the market that do the bridges, other software providers and developments. So today we're going to talk about a little bit look in the past. We will see what is it happening right now. We will see what are the trends in the future, what you should be ready for, where you are standing in this evolving process, and how we Tools for Brokers, of course, can help you to achieve your future goals, to be able to keep up with this growing pace in the industry. But before that, I understand that first of all, I need to prove who Tools for Brokers is and who I am to be able to tell you what's going to happen. So let me share my screen with you.
Sure.
So Tools for Brokers is a software development company that's been here from 2010. Company started with 3 people in a beautiful city, St. Petersburg, which very little financial activity in the city, but fantastic IT development talents in this beautiful city. Slowly we started, because in 2010, those of you who've been for many years in the industry knows that how the market looked like in 2010. Not that many things been around, and our CEO of the company, founder of the company, Alexei Kutsenko, he's seen this need of the product development of some solutions that every brokerage company needs. So he started the company with two of his colleagues. The two first products that really make it big was the money management system and internal market depth panel in the MetaTrader 4 platform. That went viral, and we started to be introduced to other companies just because the products were so good and so needed within the industry. Then 2012, we've been just growing because other people was telling about ours, and we didn't do that much of marketing, didn't travel really to the expos. It's been all because the products were good and people been just talking about it. In 2013, another fantastic event happened with the company. No, actually 2012, I have joined the company myself. First as a sales, but gradually being very proactive and been promoted to the marketing, and in 2013 became the managing director of the company. By that time, we've been growing up to 10, 15 people. It was, for some reason, difficult for us to break this 15 mark of the company. And it's been around 50 different software and plugins. It's been many companies already signed with us, a lot of commitments that we had to deliver. In 2015, we continued our growth, but started to do the travels, the trips, started to visit our first expos in 2015. We've been learning a lot about the industry by actually going out, meeting with all different market participants. It was traders, the exchanges, Japanese companies. We've been all over the world in all the countries and really met everyone, competitors, potential clients, done a lot of research. And from there, in 2015, the first product that we launched was the white label. And that gave us, again, completely the new look on the issues that the brokers have, the new type of knowledge that we had, because we've been so much into the depth of the market to understand what is actually happening. And from there, our expansion started. 2016, our first overseas office opened in China. I lived there for myself for about 6 months, built a team there. Then in 2017, we opened office in Cyprus, where we have our headquarters now with a team. In 2016, we also understood that actually the knowledge that we have already gained and this wide and vast understanding of the brokerage business is something that makes us different and something that we can give to the clients. So in China, we have tried the new approach with giving and sharing our knowledge and started to provide it as a consultancy on top of the list of the products that we have. In 2017, because that worked very well in China, we applied that concept for the whole company worldwide. So in Cyprus, we also started to do that. And then, as you see in the timeline, you probably have read all that already. 18 Bangkok to work not only with Chinese market, but to cover the whole Southeast Asia. In 2019, we opened office in UK to focus here and to expand more with the regulatory, because this is matching with the time when the regulators started to be more strict with the reports. We started to do all sorts of reports for MiFID, for ESMA, for different countries when they have their own small twist about how exactly the report should be, how traders should be protected. So 18-19 was learning a lot about the regulations. In 2020, yes, we did manage to open office in Singapore in 2020. I think that's a separate medal to be able to do that by the end of 2020, and started to build our team there. 2021, what do we have today? We have 5 offices. We grown up to 100 employees worldwide. And we have over 150 clients using our services, our packed services, and most of them have already moved to our bridging solution, because throughout all this timeline, we came to a conclusion that we have built this very good risk management system that can help you from all different aspects and angles that you need. We put the bridge in the center because the bridging part, the execution from the trading platform to liquidity, this is the center of the heart of any brokerage company, because this is the execution, most important part of the trading, and everything around, all the tools we have, is complementing it. The regulatory report is just accomplishing it to the whole system. And on top of that, we very much value our knowledge and support that we have, and we add up that as an added value to our services. So this is the intro that I have about the company.
Fabulous. And yeah, I love that you brought up that you opened the office in Singapore in 2020, because as we all know, this has been a weird year, and 2020 especially was very challenging. There were a lot of changes coming to the market. I actually want to ask you about some of those changes that you saw during 2020 and into the first few months of 2021. In your opinion, from your perspective, what are some of the changes that you've seen in the Forex market during this time?
So the important thing to understand the future is, of course, to look into the past. And that's why I brought up the whole history, to explain that we've been there with the clients. You probably see now, I will not read aloud what is written there, but the undeniable overall systems and things that we see about the past is that everyone is moving towards the regulation. All the countries gradually coming to that point. We also see that the traders themselves, they are improving a lot with their trading strategies. They're trading a lot using the API. They trading using the automated systems. They do the fundamental analysis, the math analysis. I've seen many traders with that approach who diversify their portfolios, investment portfolios, to invest in the future and have a fixed market as one part of the whole system that they have. And this is a very short-term incomes and returns, in the contrary to the long-term plans. And economy-wise, so many things have changed. Actually, the first thing that I've heard in 2014 on my first expo in Macau was that this industry is going to die literally the next year, or just fade away soon. And I'm sure that some of you are still saying these words now, or remember that this has actually been 10 years as we saying that. I think that it's not going to die for sure. It is the young industry, but we need to remember that this is an important pillar and the whole financial ecosystem in the world that we have, the financial system. It's not going to disappear. It's, of course, because it's so young, it's changing, reshaping, reforming, and to be able to catch what's going to happen, I think instead of thinking that we're just counting down our days, people and companies should change their approach to be able embrace the fact that it's changing living organism, and to be able to change, adapt quickly, have some guidelines about the trends that are happening. For example, maybe many remember the binary options. That was just quick up and down because it was banned everywhere. Everyone thought about that the crypto that was coming exactly after that is going to have the same situation. But it didn't really do the same. It wasn't really the same situation. It's still there. We see a lot of institutional clients investing into the crypto, maybe not that much of trading, but rather to have it as an alternative assets or preserve the money, because the whole economic situation is very uncertain. So I think we can't really predict what will be in the future, but what we have to do is to preserve some of the skills in our companies, some of the qualities in our companies, just to be ready for any turn that future has for us. So of course, we see in the last 2 years that there are more demand for alternative assets to FX and CFD, cryptos, equities, options, metals been there for a long time, of course, but that ability to add this new asset, whatever it will be, should be adopted very, very fast and quickly. And we added recently weekend FX trading because, well, we do the work during the day. We know that we do the research during the day, and weekend trading on the weekend is not done yet by many banks or institutionals. But this is what's going to happen. I think part of that was influenced by the crypto trading, because crypto you can trade 24/7. But FX and other types of trading slowly would go to that all-time trading. Adaptive approach, as I mentioned, you need to be able to adapt to the new changes, to the new things that are happening. And of course, you need to be partner with the companies that have mindset of the startup to be able to just change things quickly, to implement new things, new functionalities, to quickly adapt new things from the regulators and from the traders and from your risk management team as well. So all these points are important for the future.
Absolutely. So given sort of the situation, and thank you for that wonderful layout of what's happening now and also what's coming, I'm curious what your thoughts are about the main obstacles that retail brokers are facing these days, given the current situation in the market.
I think that that would be trying to use old tricks in the new environment, and this complaints about that everything is going down is because people that saying that, I'm sorry guys if you're one of them, that like it's not going to work. Well, it will work if you will change to that. And I want to relate to one it's a personal story. When I have just joined TFB, I've been working very, very hard. I wanted to say the first year, but actually all the time, but let's say extra super hard the first year. As I said, I joined as a sales person, sales manager, and within first year, I have saved money for the hard work that I've done and decided to buy a car. I didn't want to get any loan, so I just bought what I could afford cash out, and that was Honda, manufactured in 1999.
Nice.
So yeah, I love cars. I like driving, but Honda 1999, like it was, it was very good car. It served me well. It was a compact car. You can park anywhere. Yeah, it's not exactly perfect. It's not a dream car, but what do you need from a car? You need it to take you from A to B. And it was doing that. It was taking me from work to home, to the gym, to the other places. And then everything became so fast. You've seen the timeline of the company. And if you've been working or if you've been with the company at the stage where it was growing from 15 to 50 people, you know that at the start you are office manager, HR, CFO, sales, support, whatever, like you do everything. So I had very late and business trips have started. Then I have my private life, of course. I have the gym, friends, family. I need to do all that. The least thing I want to do is to think how to change the car and what shall I do to sell the car and buy a new one. So I was driving in this Honda, sometimes breaking up in the middle of the bridge. And St. Petersburg is the city based on the islands. And you can imagine how dramatic it is to be broken on the bridge because
I'm
everything.
so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, it still takes me from A to B, and that happens maybe once in 9 months. Not really that big issue. And Honda is Japanese car. It doesn't really give you that big troubles. And I was, I had to go to the service point. I couldn't really enjoy the future of the cars that we can enjoy now. So, and then I found myself one day driving back home, feeling for a moment that my car is literally shaking from all the sides, and that's
Oh my God.
like it feels that it's just going fell apart. And I took the decision the next day. By the miracle, the issues were not so big. It was not that a big deal to change the car. And I just changed it in a matter of 1 week. And I remember that moment when the mechanic opened the hood and I've seen how the inside the car, everything looks like, and the new car, I was like, wow, how many things actually happened in the last 10 years? Like, it looks completely safe, new, it's more powerful. Then I start to drive the car, it accelerates very fast. I'm the first one on the green lights and the rule schedule, but I'm just kind of driving the first.
Yeah.
It's just so smooth, it's just so nice. And then the rain starts, and apparently I have the rain sensors in the car, and it tells me the objects that are around the car, and I have the camera there. And this is just a whole new experience and world. And I was happy every second I was driving the car. But still, it took me this time to take this decision. And I think some of the brokers are in this situation. Some of them using the products they've been developing themselves. And because it's been dragging itself for 10 years, they just feel like we can't change that. We are too busy with other projects. We're too busy with other things. We're so tightened up with these things that been there for 10 years. Like we will keep suffering, like, because the same thing that happened with me is just, I didn't even know what was the first step, and I didn't even evaluate how big is the cost of the change, because I didn't know how big it is. I just made a decision. It's huge then. It's something that I can't take care of because it's so much bigger, even though it will bring me some benefits. I'm not suffering that much. It still like serves my goal to go from one place to another. So answering the question, the obstacle, I think, is this clinging on the past things and not looking for the future. I got carried away a little bit, but I would say that there are clear signals about what is telling you that the time has come now to do the changes. And I think everyone can relate to some situation like that in your past as well, when you maybe change the furniture from the old to new one, the working chair now. If you are working in your, now working from home, many people maybe been working in the dinner tables. But remember the moment when you change the dinner table and you finally organize your own working area with a proper chair, and you're like, oh, my back, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Exactly.
Or it can be anything. But I will tell you the triggers that you can look for to understand if it is the time now.
Sure.
We see why we have decided to do the bridge in the first place is because doing this consultancy and sharing the knowledge with our clients, we've seen that there are so many these simple, small things that can be sorted and wouldn't cause the big issues that happen. So instead of sorting the big issue, we've been aiming to sort the reason of these issues that happens. We didn't understand why this happening. And then we decided, well, we do the whole thing by ourselves then. We do the bridge ourselves because we know how to avoid these big issues that happening from the start, from the beginning. They shouldn't even happen. So I've prepared the list of the things where you can find yourself today. The biggest of them, I think, is when the partners that you've chosen, or it can be your internal development process project, that it is holding you from launching the new project. It might not seem as a big issue because, well, it will eventually happen. But if you will compare that someone have already done that or doesn't have that issue, and then the clients, they're not waiting for you to do that, to implement that in the end, this is actually the cost as well. The cost of the launching later, the cost that you're just not doing anything because you're expecting other parties' permission to even do something on the server, or maybe they don't they're promising the development or the delivery of some function for the long time, and it's not happening. So another big thing is technical support, that we see an issue as well, because when you want to, there are some, with the technology, with the trading, there is always something happening. And if you want to know the answer about why this happened and what was the logic, I'm not even talking about the issues and the bugs or anything, because all the bridge providers, they have a very good systems. It's not called like filling out every day. But when you want to understand how things work, and it takes you 1 week of pinging them just to understand what was happening, I don't think this is the way how it will work in the future. I think this is what holding them in this past, these small irritation things that maybe not irritating, you take it as it is, but it's actually much better processes in other companies, in the new companies, in the new coding process, and the new attitudes there.
Mm-hmm.
So if all of that or some of that happened to you, it can be that they influence you to a different extent. I would offer you to evaluate your own business and partnerships that we have right now, and to see, well, maybe it is the time to do the changes right now for you.
Right, exactly. It's so important. I love that story that you told, because it is really this thing that happens in life where we just don't know what we don't know. And going and taking a look around and seeing what's available, it can be the best thing. Absolutely. So I want to ask you now specifically about tools for brokers. You know, given all of this background information that you've given us on the market, the obstacles that brokers are facing, how can tools for brokers really help brokers achieve their goals?
We have decided to do a completely different approach, and that is the center of it is the independent system. So this is creating the private aggregation pool to yourself, to the company, and then you become the center of your business, not part of the overall businesses. This is something that's dedicated for you, and that itself giving a lot of benefits and a lot of differences and a lot of outstanding points for your company. So what does private aggregation pool mean? First, it means that you still keep this opportunity to connect to one of the over 50 liquidity providers and exchanges that we have right now, but it will be directly at your place. You're not sharing it with others. Then another part is that we've done this aggregation system in the modular code. And what it means in English, human language, as I say it, is that this is the independent parts of the code that can easily changed and adapted and modified the way clients want it, the way traders want it. So if you want to change one function, it doesn't influence the other parts. You're just changing this function and it works. So this is how the modular coding system works. So that you can understand how big advantage that is, because we can do the development fast. We can release the new versions every 2-3 months with the new things that coming in. It might be from the regulators. It might be the new type of asset. It might be the new connection, new formula, new filtration rule, anything. And because this is the private independent system, it allows you to run it on the weekend, because the cryptos on the weekend, if you are part of the centralized system, then you are not able to control that system. If it is off on the weekend, it is off on the weekend for everyone. If it is falling, it is falling for everyone. If it is some maintenance work or changes, it is for everyone. But if it is your private system, then if you want to work it on the weekend, it will work on the weekend. If you want to update it or you don't want to update it, you don't do that, or you do that with a new functionality. Then if someone's system is down, your system is not affected. It's still up and running. And of course, it gives 24/7 access, because we do the hosting as well in the protected private way, encrypted way, that limited people can be connected, but you don't have to request the access. You have the access. Your team have the access 24/7, and that is important case for the big companies, for the big clients, especially the most high security level companies we've seen are in Japan, when they really want to have everything on their side because of the security reasons. And in that case, you can do that. You can host it like on your side fully, where only you will have an access. And that is the new security level, where again, your company is in the center. And because it can be hosted in the same machine or the servers with the trading platforms, it just cut off one part, one stop, and that guarantees the fastest execution. And the next to it, of course, this is just the approach itself by this individual private systems, and of course the technical advantage. What we do differently in the company, we are a client-driven development company. That means we're not competing in the number of functionality with the competitors. We prefer to look around on the market to see what traders want, what brokers want, what are the expectations from the exchanges, and what are the regulatory requirements. So we're looking into that part rather than competing on the number of I don't know, levels of the access or some other things that really has little to do with the brokerage companies, but much more in the competitive stage. So what we have done that's been driven by the customers, by the brokers, is the real-time auto switch that allow you to do the auto switching, the switching mode from different risk modules real time, with no request for the restart of the servers, because seconds matters in that case. That happens really the second you do this request to change. And we also have developed the triggers in which this auto switch can happen. It can be the total volume of the position of one specific client or instrument. It can be the change in the points. It can be profit and loss, or P&L, P&L increase or decrease. So there is different type of triggers that can do this auto switch, and this is a very powerful thing. I will jump into the last one, which is margin engine, because it's a bit related. We have developed the margin engine, and that is a separate, very heavy task to do for any company, because that can calculate the leverage, that can calculate the execution maths, and we have very strong, powerful system in the center of the bridge part that do this margin calculation, and because of that allows us to do the fixed API connection with extended API. And that, again, a good benefit for the bigger companies who have their own risk management teams, who wants to do the risk management, the logic on their side, and just send the commands about the execution to the bridging part. So this is the unique function that we haven't seen anywhere yet, and this is something that companies been asking us to do because they haven't had any place where they could do that. And of course, for the security reasons, we have the monitoring system on the servers that tracks not only the work of the bridge part or of the MT4, MT5 parts trading platforms, but also the server situation. It can catch the memory leaks. It can report about the free space on the server. This is, again, the small details that just makes your life much better and convenient and more pleasant. And fewer features like volume consolidation, because with aggregation and best price policy, brokers end up with the different positions on different liquidity providers that is not matching with the positions they have on the trading platform. And we done it because we had our clients and dealers sitting at the end of the day with Excel files, counting all the positions, match it with the things they see on the liquidity providers. And I don't think it is a nice way to end your day from my personal point of view and perspective. So we do that for you guys. press one button, consolidate the volumes, and it will match your positions on the trading platforms with your liquidity exposure. So that is, again, like these simple things. On these details, we've been focusing just to make the bridge the helping tool on the daily basis rather than the complex system that you have to learn. And yeah, of course, driven first of all from the management perspective to understand what actually liquidity providers. I know some of them are on this list of attendees as well. Yes. But yeah, we have the system, guys, to evaluate you precisely. The speed of execution, the reject rates, the price slippage. So yeah, we have the system that will show that this is how much this liquidity gave you, the negative slippage, the positive slippage. This is how much time it takes to evaluate, and this is where this liquidity pricing is in comparison to the others. So in this thing, we are developing a lot to really be able to compare the quality of your liquidity providers. Mm-hmm. Yes, so that is the technical benefits, but we also have the company benefits. I've been talking the whole this presentation about the company and how great it is, but it's a genuine feeling that I have. I think that in terms of the client support and partnerships, it is, if there was a nomination on the finance magnates about the best technical support, we would be winning every year with no competitors there, I'm sure of that, because this is just what we hear all the time from all our clients and partners, from the liquidity side, from the broker side, because we refuse to go to the ticketing system because some of the questions, the quick questions, they can't be answered straight away. So we have a separate level of support that just helping you on this. What if, this is the favorite part of the questions that we have, what will happen if I will do that, or how to do that? We do the reports every year. I don't have this picture now, unfortunately, but I think around 40% of the requests that we have for our support is this question about what if, how to, and this type of question, because we give these answers not only about the products that we have, but overall trading platform, servers, everything, how it's all working together. And we're very cooperative to do the setups, to guide through the whole experience working with our product. I have also success management team that do the onboarding and education for any clients that are signing with our services for all products. So we choose 2 free topics, or you choose actually 2 free topics that you want to really get into, and our department, you will have the same people working with you. They will be there to help you with any questions, to do the individual presentations about how to use that. And we can even help on the time of onboarding the new employees. For example, if you have the changes in your risk management team and you really want us to let him know about how to use the product, then we can do that. And to have these answers from us, from the person to person, not just sent to the documents, because sometimes that can be difficult, confusing, long, but from the person to person, that happens more efficiently. And we value efficiency on all levels.
Absolutely. So I still have a few more questions for you here before we open up the floor to questions from the audience. And I want to remind our audience members to please send questions that you have for Albina. One of my questions is, so, given that there's tools like, the tools that Tools for Brokers offers available on the market, it seems like the technology, the support is really there. Given that, what would you say that the biggest setback is for brokers who are trying to grow their businesses?
I think that going back to this story with the car is the evaluation, like you have on the scale. On one side, you have how really bad situation I am in and how much efforts do I need to do to solve this. Then you evaluate like it's actually not a big problem, not a big issue. And because, as I said before as well, you don't even see the first step and you make an assumption that it's a huge because you can't see the frames around the subject. So that is the potential cost of the new technology, of implementing something new to your business. This is what's holding, because those who are new clients, they don't have these problems. Those who are just getting their license, they just getting into all the new technology. And that's why the top 10, top 5 of the brokers are get to this goal in the last, let's say, 5 years. But those who've been there for 10, 15 years, because they've been holding with this a bit outdated services, it can be on different levels, product-wise, service-wise. They are a bit behind. They can't, even though they have longer history, they can't really, because of this approach. And I think if to compare what I'm actually going to get and where I want to be, is that something will help me to achieve my future goals. If this will help me, this product will help me to keep up with this increasing pace on the daily basis, on the future, this is what going to lead me to the where I want, or then probably we will make another choice. And of course, it's just scary. It's just scary because maybe with the car it's more easier, but with a product you might be afraid that what if it will not work? For that I can say, well, it works. It's we have over 150 clients. We've done all this onboarding processes. It works. We have a client, someone joined us 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Most been started to work with us during 2020. So there is an experience, there is a knowledge. It does work. And another thing is that, again, valuation of the potential efforts, and that it's just not the right time. I have so many things to do, and you know this industry, so something always happens. This currency is down, this economy is up, you need to do all these daily things, but sometimes the biggest effort you need to do is to think about to devote the time to get into something, because for the future, in the long run, it will save you more time, money, and will lead you to the new heights. Yes, it will cost some devotion at the beginning, but if you look on the long term, it's better to do this effort now, today, this week, to secure the better future for yourself and for your company.
Absolutely. And so let's say right after this interview, one of our audience members wants to partner with you. Where could they start?
They would. I have some slides for it.
Sure.
So if they want to start, if any of you want to start with us, I would just summarize what we Tools for Brokers have to offer to you. First is the powerful bridge, fully packed with all the functions. If we go through all the functions, it will be a 3 hours presentation. That's why I didn't bore you with the technology presentation, the interface, because that's the new things to discover, just as with the car. I really like that sample as well, because you like discover it on the way, like, oh, this is convenient. Oh, this is cool. So that's the thing. We care a lot about reliability, that you can really rely not only on the support, but on the product itself. It's up and running. We don't have any downtime histories. Yeah, for the last 3 years, there were no issues like that. And again, we have this monitoring system that in case of any errors or issues, just notifies you straight away that something is going on, you need to pay attention attention for that. Not something it will actually tell you what's going on, what's wrong, and you will be able to act. As I said, the client-driven product improvement. I will give a sample here. In terms of the filtration, one of the things, of course, we don't just accept everything, all the bright ideas, because not all the bright ideas are that bright as they might seem to be. So one of the things that we recently added was in the filtration levels. You know, in MetaTrader platform, you can mark the clients by the colors and do some unite them into the groups, like say red, green, yellow, and that's it's visually make it easier to manage in the MT4, because like with the colors it's just one way of sorting just by the side. And what we have done is the filtration on the bridge level, how to execute based on that group to matching with the MetaTrader color. That was done because this was a request from one of the clients. He wanted to do it in that way, and we were like, well, yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds convenient. That is a good idea. So we just do that. And there are many other samples, of course, but this is how we're working and delivering the systems and functions that are actually needed and asked for, with internal evaluation still. And full cycle risk management ecosystem. With that, I mean, we didn't give up all the experience that we gained through our history. We still have the separate team that do these tools, that do the risk management system, that automate some internal processes, that manage with the risk profile of the client, that do the report. So with us, with one company, you can have a set of everything that covers all your needs that you might have, and that is a one-stop shop. And of course, access to exclusive knowledge base. We have created a special database of information that we're passing through our generations in TFB. That is the written information about, again, not only about our products, but about trading platforms, different collection of information, how to, what to do, what will happen if. So it's a big knowledge database with different internal videos about the management settings and everything that is given to all the companies that are subscribed with us. And the journey that you are making is, of course, you're sending the request for the presentation. We choosing the best time for both of us for a tailored, specifically suited for you presentation. You have a test drive of the product to test it on the real environment. We can help with recreating the environment so it really matches the real one that you have. You have the support of our team of the success department and support department throughout this process. We're going live. We give you this access to the private knowledge area. And from there, the real journey starts that leads us to the achievement of our goals.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Albina. And I want to open up the floor to questions from our audience. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions today. We have some really great questions. So first of all, one audience member asks, could you mention any sort of potential drawbacks or benefits to work with third-party providers like tools for brokers compared with hiring an internal developer to create a customized product for the client? What are the sort of benefits and drawbacks for both of those scenarios?
Benefits are that with a company that is third-party provider, you have not only your experience, but knowledge of all the companies, let's say. Just with a sample with these filtration rules, that was coming from the other clients, but you might think like, this is good that this function happens. So the functionality of the product is always a bit ahead of maybe your own knowledge, because we are working with all different clients, with all different markets, and we will have something new before you might even think about that. That is the benefit of this accumulated knowledge. Second is that we dedicate 100% of our time, of our knowledge to build this product, to improve them. And for you, it will be on the sideline. So we have 100 people that only do this product for the risk management, to be on the top of it, to be always up to date with the demands, and to develop something internally. If you're not going to do that one of your main products, then it will end up costing you more actually, or being too old in few years, because you need to support this product, and that is very, very demanding in resources, because this is separate complex process in itself to be able to support it and catch it up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Albina. So we have another question coming in. This audience member asks, who do you consider to be your main bridge competitors, and what makes Tools for Broker Solution better than theirs?
My whole presentation was about the different and competitors. So just with the purpose not to repeat myself, I will send you the link on this video to watch it. Again, I mentioned all of that, but I would say that the biggest difference is, of course, approach. And this modular system and independence and private system separately is what makes the whole thing completely different, and with all the benefits coming from that. In terms of the main competitors, you know, the Netflix managers replied that their main competitor is that people have to sleep, because
oh my God, I didn't. Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say our main competitors is the needs of the people, or this kind of things, because again, we're not looking to one specific competitor and driven by this competition. We are driven by the demand on the market from the broker side.
Absolutely. Another question, how long does it take to develop a functional system for your client? And do you categorize any new features or functionalities under different packages, or do you offer everything sort of under one pack?
We have, so the way we've done, we put the bridge in the center of everything. And then in terms of the functionalities, we added up, but it is the flexible set of functionalities you can adapt depending on what you want to do, because we have some companies that want to automate the internal processes, to update the swaps, to pay out the dividends, to change the settings on to change the leverage, for example, according to the regulators' requirements. That is the automation. It's one thing. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe you want to work more with a stop out and stop losses and more the client side of the things. This is the second. The third is the client attracting things, because we have the money management system, the coping tools that are popular as well. So or the business intelligence system, reporting. So there are so many different aspects. And of course, we, based on the needs, we can pack it. We can on the way change the things in it as well. If you don't need the leverage changer, we call it leverage changer, and you want to have the swap updates instead, you can just change them and go up and down with this package and sets. I think I replied the question, right?
Yes, yes. Well, the other part of the question was, how long does it take to develop a functional system for your client?
If it is to develop from the scratch, we don't take the developments that are longer than 6 weeks anymore. If it is the customization, it can be anything from, we start with 3 days because we do the testing, the processes, up to 1 month, depending what is this bright idea that you have. But
Okay.
if it is about the development, if it is onboarding and start to use the bridge, that usually happens within 1 weekend.
I see. Okay. Another question. This is a great question. It's a little bit long, so bear with me here, Albina. Uh, this audience member writes, it is common for brokers to aggregate different POP feeds to tighten the spread, but as we all know, usually causes different legs of traders' orders being routed to different liquidity providers and usually creates a nightmare. Just now, you mentioned about volume consolidation feature of tools for brokers. Does it mean that when the traders flatten their position, the bridge will automatically flatten the positions on different liquidity providers' legs? Or is it a function that has to be manually executed by the risk management team?
Two ways we have decided, two ways. No, let me say it in the English is not my first language. Let me
Sure,
just
no problem.
bear with me for a second. We have solved this issue in two different ways. First is to flatten these positions at the end of the day, because there might be different positions and maybe someone else will close that position or open that position on these liquidity providers, and that will just see the outstanding positions at the end of the day. And then you can click the button or even schedule it, and it will happen at the end of the day on a certain instruments. The second way is then the aggregation types. We have the execution by top of the book, where it sends on the liquidity provider that gives you the best pricing, filling it with different liquidity providers. But we have another type that close this position on the same providers where it was opened. And that will work for the traders that keeping the long position, because they don't really care that much about 1-2 points that the difference might be on the closing side, on the getting out of the position. So the bridge will remember where it was opened and will send the closing request to that system. And of course, in case of reject, we also have the systems that calculate everything. Again, because we have this math margin engine and math system, we remember and know exactly what was opened where and how to match all of that.
I see. Thank you, Albina. So the next question is, how does Tools for Brokers distinguish product requests from both retail and professional level brokers? So for example, what if a retail broker would find that most functions are more built on the basis for professional brokers?
We combine it in the user interface under the different tabs, and they're in a different place. It's of course, I think, for them, it's packed with the functions and with the things, and then with the additional functionalities, you can extend your own portfolio with tools that are for the more professional and for the less professional broker, not less professional, sorry, for the retail brokers. Yeah, so it's just because you can match, mix and package the way you want. It can serve both sides. Again, because we started with retail brokers and then gradually been going to the companies, institutionals with their own trading floors and just extending our offer.
Thank you, Albina. So a couple last questions here. Just briefly, what are your thoughts on the Robinhood trend we see in the United States and the impact of coordinated trading? How this coordinated trading can impact markets, especially CFDs? How should we as an industry be reacting, embracing, and regulating?
As the event itself, I think it just shows us, teaches us some lessons about the economy, what's moral sides, what is good, what is bad. There are a lot of debates about that. But from the company point of view, again, from the long-term perspective, this event or any other event in the future, they will be happening. And in that cases, from the technical point of view, you can protect yourself with this auto switch functions that I mentioned, because you can just set that if the price jump up on 100 points, well, I need to change the type of the system, how it's used, or how it's managed, how it's executed, or to just send it to another liquidity provider. or just, so we are not predicting, let's say, the pricing and the impact. We're rather thinking about what we can do in these situations, what can be the triggers, and what actions we can take. So there is a limited number of actions we can take, brokers can take, and we as a bridge provider done everything to catch these actions. And we also have the business intelligence system that is also do this reporting for the regulators and for the brokers as well, to see the different trading patterns, to highlight them. And then there is certain scenarios, few scenarios that you can choose to act.
Yes, thank you so much, Albina. So we're almost out of time. Before we go, can you share a little bit of information about where our audience can find out more about tools for brokers?
Yes, this is the, you see my screen. Yeah, you see my screen.
Yes.
Following the link, and because I'm so grateful for finance magnates to organizing all this event, specifically for this audience that is real-time live with us today, 10 first clients, 10 first companies that will request the offer following this link will get 2 months free of charge, completely free of charge, no setup fees, no fixed fees, no monthly fees for 2 months for the first 10 people who will request the private presentation technically. But this is our website. You can find us on LinkedIn, all of us. You can find the contacts and the request through the website. It's all over there, the contacts and the request buttons. So contact us, and we usually reply within 1 hour.
All right, Albina. Yes. Okay. So everyone take note of that link. Listen to what Albina says. There's a great offer on hand here. Albina, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you so much. It was very, very good pleasure for me as well.
Great, glad to hear. And to our audience members, remember that this webinar will be available on demand after our session today. I hope you all have enjoyed this discussion. I certainly did. If you want more information about the industry, about more webinars that are coming up, be sure to visit us at financemagnates.com. Thank you, Albina, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.